guys, how you doing? I'm Matt Gear and you're watching Beginner's Guitar Lessons on Matt Gear TV. Today I'm going to show you a very short but very important lesson on how to tune your guitar. If your guitar's not in tune, it doesn't really matter what you try and play because it's going to sound really horrible. So what does being in tune mean? And conversely, what does being out of tune mean? Well, basically, first of all, being in tune on your guitar means that each of the strings are at a correct pitch in relation to one another. So when you fret a chord or play a scale, it sounds right. This guitar is in tune. If I tweak a few knobs, that's the same chord fretted. That should be a G major chord. Well, that sounds horrific, so that is clearly out of tune. So in the first example, we've got a guitar which is in tune with itself. In the second, we've got a guitar which is out of tune with itself. Now there's a lot of electronic tuners on the market which you can buy, most of which are very good indeed. The one that I use is this little clip-on tuner here, which you can probably just about see behind my neck, by Planet Waves, which is absolutely brilliant, and it's not too expensive either. So if you've got the money, it's well worth going out and getting yourself one of those. However, it's still really important for you to understand the fundamentals of tuning a guitar to itself, because once you do that, you start to understand how the fretboard works and the continuation of notes from the low E string all the way up to the high E string. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a low E, which is the bottom string, the thickest string on the guitar, and I'm going to show you how you can tune from that. So first of all, here's the bottom note, the lowest note on the guitar, which is an E. This is the low E string here, which I'm going to play. Now, I've tuned that to my tuner, so I know that that is an E. So if you want to come back, if you don't have an electronic tuner of your own, just refer to that note, because that is guaranteed 100% a low E. All the other strings on the guitar, I've detuned. So that is clearly completely out of tune. Any chord that I play is going to sound completely wrong. That's what being out of tune sounds like, folks. So if you sound like that, your guitar is out of tune. So how do we fix that? How do we go from being out of tune to being in tune? Well, you have to have one note right to start off with. Like I said, that's your E, low E. Everything's going to work from that. So what we're going to do is use that low E note to tune the rest of the strings on the guitar. How are we going to do that? Well, I know that in standard tuning, the second string here on the guitar should be tuned to A, and that A is actually the same note that I will get if I play the 5th fret on that low E string. So that's the open E string, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th fret. So if I play that note there, that's an A, and I play the A string at the same time, those two notes should be the same. I can hear that they're not, they're jarring, but what I can also hear is the A string is slightly too high. So if I adjust the tuning via the tuning pegs here at the top of the guitar, I'm going to release the tension a little bit. Still slightly too high. So you can hear now, that's the same note. You can also check, if I play the 7th fret on the A string, I know that's an E, so that's an octave above that low E string. So just to double check, that sounds the same. That's great. So that is the E string and the A string now in tune. I go through that same process from the A string to the next string, which I know is tuned to a D. Don't worry if you can't remember the naming of the notes at the moment, just remember the pattern. So I'm going from the 5th fret on the E string is the same note as the A string. 5th note on the A string is the same as the D string. And I can hear there that the D string is much too low. So I'm going to go again to the tuner at the top. I'm going to tighten the tension on the string to bring that up. So I've overshot a little bit that time. Back down. There we go. So that's now in tune. I've now got 3 strings in tune. Now for the 4th. I know again, if I go to the 5th fret of the D string, that should be the same note as the next, which is the G string. So I can hear that the G string is slightly too sharp, too high. Again, I'm going to let a little bit of slack off of there. Now we're in tune. Now the next one is slightly different because from the G to the B, rather than going from the 5th fret, I'm going to go from the 4th fret. So I can hear that the B string is much too low. Okay, so I can hear that those are in tune. Finally, the high string, which is an E, which is actually 2 octaves above the lower E string. I know if I fret the 5th fret on the B string, that's almost right. Slightly sharp. So just checking again from the bottom, E, 5th fret is an A string, 5th fret is a D, that's maybe slightly flat. D string, 5th fret is a G, G string, 4th fret is a B, and then B string, 5th fret is an E. So you may need a little bit of trial and error when you're doing this. If when you strum your chord it doesn't sound quite right, you may need to go back through and tweak individual strings just to make sure everything is absolutely correct. Also, this guitar has got a fixed bridge on it, so nothing moves. It's not got a tremolo system. Well, it has got a tremolo system, but I've had it locked down. If you have got a guitar with a trem, what you'll find is that as you start tuning some strings up and increasing and decreasing the tension, the tremolo moves. So it's quite a lot more difficult to tune a guitar with a trem on than one without. What you'll find is once you've been through that process, so from E string, 5th fret, A string, 5th fret, D string, 5th fret, and so on and so forth, all the way up, you'll probably find that you've got to go through that process a couple of times, because as you increase the tension on the strings, tremolo moves slightly, which pushes the tuning of the other strings out a little bit. It's a real pain, but you need to stick with it and obviously make sure that your guitar's in tune before you start playing. So at the end of the video I'm going to put the tuning notes for each of the 6 strings up so that you can use that as a reference to check the tuning on your guitar. Do make sure that you try and use the tuning method that I've shown you though, so that you can familiarise your ear with the notes that you're actually playing. Eventually your guitar will go out of tune, you'll need to change the strings, and it's important to be able to tune the guitar yourself because you won't always have a tuner around to do that for you. So thanks for watching guys, I've been Matt Gear, this has been Matt Gear TV. Subscribe to my channel and check back soon for lots of more lessons, licks and other cool stuff. You guys take it easy and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Here's your tuning notes. Low E, A, D, G, B, E.